Welcome, everyone. Today we're doing a deep dive into something pretty fascinating, looking at how ancient wisdom might hold keys to feeling younger, healthier.
Yeah, we've been digging into this YouTube video, the one by Yogi Varunanand called which basically translates to follow these 6 rules and age will pause.
And our mission today is really to unpack that, to distill the core ideas for you.
Exactly. And it's important to note this isn't about some fad diet or, miracle pills.
Right.
It's focused on lifestyle principles, fundamental changes.
And the video makes a pretty bold claim, doesn't it? That if you stick with these rules
consistently,
you could actually feel a difference, notice benefits in just about a month.
Which is, well, pretty compelling. So worth exploring.
Definitely. So let's jump into the first principle. This one's all about our mental and emotional well-being and this idea of right conduct.
Yeah, and it kicks off by emphasizing something we kind of know, but maybe forget the deep link between the mind and body. There's this Sanskrit saying mentioned, hi datiba, herpebo fine aldo click ramonakyu.
Okay, what does that mean for us?
It translates roughly to happy mind and healthy senses define a healthy person. So your state of mind is fundamental.
Okay, let's break that down a bit. The video suggests that things like worry, stress, they aren't just feelings floating around.
Not at all. They argue it has real physical consequences. It impacts, well, everything, your digestion, how you breathe, even down to your cells.
Like that constant drip of stress hormones wearing things down.
Exactly. And cultivating that peace through ethical living basically lessens that internal wear and tear.
And the video connects this mental turmoil, this lack of peace, to wrong conduct. What's that about?
Yeah, galadataran is the term used. And also indriya vyasan, which is like sensory indulgence or over-attachment to pleasures.
Ah, okay.
The idea is that our actions and maybe chasing after fleeting highs often underlie our mental struggles.
So the path forward, according to this principle, involves choosing sadachari, virtuous living.
Right. Following righteous principles, moving towards sattvikta purity, balance.
And letting go of the opposite tamagun vrityan, those heavier, maybe negative tendencies.
Precisely. It's about abandoning negative actions, harmful desires, attachments. The video argues that this is what leads to inner peace.
Because those temporary pleasures, they can lead to a crash later.
That's the idea. Subsequent sadness, distress, even depression. If your actions cause inner conflict, guilt, anxiety, that directly hits your mental state.
So it's not just avoiding bad stuff, it's actively cultivating good things.
Yes, exactly. Positive mindset, good behavior, controlling the senses in a healthy way, and even spiritual practices. Things like devotion, taking the Lord's name. These are mentioned as routes to profound peace.
Makes sense. Okay, that flows quite naturally into the second principle then, which is about hydration. Specifically, how and when we drink water, especially around meals.
Yeah, this one starts with a little story, an anecdote about someone with digestive issues.
Right, I remember that. And the observation was about drinking water after the meal.
Exactly. The person drank a whole glass of cold water right after eating. And this leads straight into a key Ayurvedic principle they quote,
Whoa, okay, break that down.
It means something like, water before a meal is nectar, but water right after a meal is like poison.
Poison. That's pretty strong language.
It is, but it really emphasizes the importance of timing.
So what's the guideline then? When should we drink?
The video suggests drinking about, say, 40 minutes before eating is actually good. Helps prep the system.
Okay.
And small sips during the meal are fine, just to help the food go down smoothly.
But the big no-no is gulping water right after, especially cold water. Why is that so bad?
Well, they use this analogy of the jatharani, your digestive fire. Think of it like the heat and enzymes breaking down your food.
Like a stove.
Exactly like a stove. And pouring water, especially cold water, onto that fire, well, it dampens it, puts it out almost.
So it just hinders the whole digestive process.
Right. It slows everything down, makes it less efficient.
And what happens then if digestion is impaired?
Well, the video implies, and generally speaking, poor digestion means food might ferment, create toxins. They use the word vishakt, and you don't absorb nutrients properly. It can cause a whole cascade of issues.
Okay, so how long should we wait after eating before drinking water?
The recommendation given is about an hour. Wait about 1 hour after you finish your meal.
And the cold water thing is a general point too? but especially bad after eating.
Yes, definitely emphasizes avoiding cold water generally, but highlights its particularly harmful effect right after a meal.
Got it. Okay, principle number 3. This one is about quantity. The wisdom of eating in moderation.
Yes, summed up in the phrase, "Atan kal kan bahoya malfa."
Which means,
Essentially, eating less lets you digest better and thrive longer. It implies a connection to longevity.
and it's interesting, the video says even overeating healthy food, sattvic food, can have tamasic effects. What does that mean?
Tamasic means like lethargic, heavy, dulling. The point is, overeating anything puts a huge burden on your digestion.
Even the good stuff.
Right, your body might struggle to produce enough digestive juices, so the food just sits there longer than it should, stagnates.
And that stagnation causes problems.
That's where the toxins, the Vishakt, come in, according to the video. They use this analogy of making curds, like yogurt.
Oh, yeah.
Just a tiny bit of starter culture representing the toxins can affect a whole big pot of milk, which is like your digestive system. A little bit of undigested fermenting stuff can really throw things off.
That's a really clear picture. So the advice is always leave a bit of room. Don't eat until you're absolutely stuffed.
Exactly. Eat slightly less than your full appetite, even with nutritious food. You'll feel lighter, less sluggish. They specifically mention this is important for students too.
Right, for focus, I imagine.
Yeah.
Okay, principle 4, establishing consistent daily rhythms. Sleep, wake, meals.
Yeah, this is one that probably gets ignored a lot in modern life, right? Keeping a regular schedule.
Totally. So the focus seems to be on inconsistent sleep first. What's the harm there?
The video highlights going to bed at different times, waking up at different times. It messes with your internal clock.
They mention an ideal window. 9-10 p.m. sleep, waking around 4 a.m. Brahmahurta.
They do mention that as the ideal. Yeah, Brahmahurta. But they also acknowledge it's tough. The main point is consistency. Even if it's 11 p.m. to 6 a.m., sticking to it is better than being all over the place.
And then maybe adjust gradually if you want to wake earlier.
Exactly.
So why is this consistency so important physiologically?
It syncs up with your body's natural rhythm, your circadian clock. This helps regulate metabolism, hormones, and crucially, bowel movements.
Ah, okay. The video links irregular sleep to constipation.
Directly, yes. And constipation, the thinking goes, means waste sits in the intestines, increasing vayu gas, bloating.
Uncomfortable.
And apparently, this internal vayu can even affect your skin, make it dry, contribute to premature aging. It's all connected.
Wow, okay. From sleep schedule to skin health.
Yeah.
And it's not just sleep, right? Consistent meal times, too.
Absolutely. Same principle. Helps your digestive system anticipate and work efficiently, supports the whole bodily rhythm.
Okay, principle 5. This one's pretty blunt. Avoid tea, coffee, and smoking.
Yeah, quite direct. Smoking, or dhumrapan, gets called out for disrupting cell regeneration. Big factor in premature aging, major damage to skin cells.
Plus all the other well-known harms of nicotine.
Of course, it impacts pretty much every system in the body negatively.
Now, tea and coffee. The video seems concerned about having them first thing in the morning.
Very much so. That common habit, reaching for tea or coffee before even drinking water.
Guilty as charged sometimes.
Huh. Well, the video emphasizes they're highly acidic. They increase pitta, which is related to bile and heat in the system.
And the problem with that acidity, especially on an empty stomach.
Over time, it can apparently erode the stomach lining, potentially lead to ulcers.
Ouch. So what's the alternative suggestion?
They mention considering Ayurvedic beverages, herbal drinks, basically, without actual tea leaves, as a healthier option.
But the main trust is just give them up. Tea, coffee, smoking completely.
That's the core message of this particular principle, yes. Complete stop.
Okay, that brings us to the 6th and final principle, brahmacharya, which is usually translated as celibacy or continence. This might feel like a big one for people.
It can be, yeah. The video acknowledges its importance and actually points to another previous video for a deeper dive into how to practice it, how to build that resolve.
Okay, but in this context, what are the main benefits highlighted for health and aging?
The core idea is that conserving this particular vital energy leads to better mental clarity, sharper intellect. Also, more sadvikta, that purity and balance we talked about. And feelings of joy, contentment, deep mental peace.
And all of that would positively impact aging and health.
That's the connection made, yes. It all contributes to overall well-being and slows down the negative aspects of aging.
It mentions ojas as well. What exactly is Ageless?
Ageless is described as this like essential vital energy, the essence of vitality, resilience. The video presents it as something generated or strengthened when you practice brahmacharya.
Like conserving fuel allows the engine to run better.
That's a decent analogy. It's seen as a life-giving force, a sanivani and elixir beneficial for everyone, men and women.
And the video encourages people to try it and see for themselves.
Very much so. The idea is that the personal experience of the benefits, the clarity, the peace is the best motivator to stick with it. It's framed as a firm principle for life.
Okay, so let's just quickly recap those 6 principles we pulled from the video. Number 1, mind your mental state through right conduct.
2, mindful hydration, especially around meals timing, is key.
3, eat in moderation, don't overfill the tank.
4, keep consistent daily rhythms, sleep, wake, eat.
5, steer clear of tea, coffee, and smoking.
And 6, the practice of brahmacharya, conserving vital energy.
And the claim is, if you consistently apply these,
You might see noticeable positive shifts within about a month, which, again, is pretty quick for lifestyle changes.
it really is. So maybe a final thought for everyone listening, just reflect on these 6 points. Does one in particular jump out at you?
Yeah, which one maybe resonates with where you are now or seems like the biggest challenge or maybe the easiest first step?
And consider what impact integrating even just 1 or 2 might have. The video really seems to suggest that the real proof is in the pudding, so to speak.
Absolutely. True understanding comes from trying it out, observing the effects in your own life. It's really an invitation to experiment and see what works for you personally.